What's going on, good people? It's been a while. I want to welcome everybody to Heavy Brand Podcast, Youth and Mentorship Podcast. We got Youth on the Rise from Jamaica on the show. Hello, welcome. Welcome to Heavy Brand Podcast.
Good morning. Thank you.
So is your name pronounced Stasha?
Yes, that's it, Stasha.
Okay, Stasha. I want to welcome you to Heavy Brand Podcast, the Youth and Mentorship Podcast here in the United States. Please introduce yourself to the good people.
Thank you so much for having me. All right, so my name is Stasha Gay Woolery, and I'm from Jamaica, parish called St. Elizabeth, small town really in St. Elizabeth. I am a brand ambassador, a member of Youth on the Rise, as well as a past and a past Miss Jamaica World Top 5 contestant.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. More ways than one. So, Stasha, tell us who came up with Youth on the Rise. Tell us about the history of Youth on the Rise.
Well, as it relates to the initiative of Youth on the Rise, it was actually Renee Bromfield. She was the mastermind behind it. And a couple others of us. It started back in 2013. The goal was just to get the unattached youth more in activity that would actually keep them busy and keep them informed and, out of gangs and things that would not have been so productive. So that's basically how it started back in 2013. After that, it just grew and evolved, and we had more persons being involved in it. That group actually gave me the platform of actually being a part of Youth Parliament, because that was what I used to enter Youth Parliament. So it's a really good initiative.
Now, you mentioned like challenges youth face, like gangs and so forth. What are some of the other challenges that young people in Jamaica face on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, it's more like persons not necessarily having the motivation to really want to go out there and do something. Most persons are probably raised in some small communities with not so much influences in terms of socially or academically, so you have persons facing maybe teenage pregnancy you have happening. You have persons ending up doing drugs. You have persons ending up being a part of gangs and crimes. So those are just a few of the things that you have persons who are able to be a part of or vulnerable to being a part of, in especially some of these small communities here in Jamaica.
Okay. Beautiful. Is it Renee? How do you pronounce your name? We have another guest on the podcast.
Yes, it's Renee.
Renee, I want to welcome you to Heavy Brand Podcast, the Youth and Mentorship Podcast here in the United States.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us.
So, Renee, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Renee Bromfield, and I am an educator. I'm actually the founder for Youth on the Rise. We started in 2013, and we're on our 8th year. And what else is there about me? Yeah, and like we had spoken, Youth on the Rise is a platform to help empower young people within our communities. Excellent.
Now, what are some of the community projects that you two ladies can say are very memorable? Just looking back on the past eight or 9 years, what can you say was like a really memorable community project?
So I think it was 2018, we did a project with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, as well as High Trust NTA, where we did a pitch for assistance for our basic school within our community. I think that's one of the most outstanding projects that we've done, knowing that we could have done this to give back to the babies, because they're babies, they're between 3 to 6 years old. And yeah, so that's one of our memorable projects that we've done.
Excellent. Now, as far as, let me take you ladies back to 2020, around February or March. What thoughts were going on in your heads? This question for both of you. Once you realized there was something going on called COVID-19, what thoughts went in your minds at that time?
For me, as an educator, it has been challenging because using the virtual platform, and a lot of those children, they don't have access to neither the physical resource, that is the tablets, and as well as a lot of them don't have access to internet. And I had my 11th grade students as well who were about to sit the external exam, CXC. And so it has been a challenge. And I also understood the challenges within our communities, because our community is a farm-oriented community, and a lot of children never had access. Well, a lot of them still don't have access to the tablets or the laptops, as well as internet. So that in itself has been one of our main challenges.
Thank you. How about you, Stasha? What kind of thoughts were going on in your mind once the pandemic started?
Well, as for me, as it relates to the pandemic, the impact for me, basically, it was more about the social connection, the ability to actually go out and interact with person physically. That was, my main problem with that part. As it relates to work, because I'm actually in the business processing outsourcing area. We're hearing some background noise. Renee, mute your phone, please. Thank you. So as for my area, I'm actually in the business processing outsourcing area, and most of our work went remote, right? Apart from that, you have a lot of things dealing with, working from home and the isolation. That was it for me as it relates to COVID-19.
Yes. Now, aside from the challenges, Youth on the Rise, continues to, have the best interest of our young people at heart. Now, when people here in the United States, when they think of Jamaica, they think of the rich culture, the music, the reggae music, the food. But I want you two ladies to tell me, what are some of the other interesting things about Jamaica that outsiders, that Americans might not know about?
That Americans might not know about. Stasha, do you want to go ahead with that one first? Because I'm still thinking.
Absolutely. All right. So since I kind of dabbled in tourism, a bit, my degree is actually in hospitality and tourism management. I think what most tourists is kind of gravitating to these days, once they get a taste of it, is community tourism, because the people, or Jamaican people, is the best. And that's what most tourists actually come to enjoy, just the people and the vibe. And, they don't necessarily want the 5-star hotels. They want the inns and the Airbnb, so they can actually interact with the persons in the community. That's where the real culture is. So I think that's it.
Excellent.
And I would agree with Stasha as well. We're vibrant people. Well, the world knows us to be a vibrant people. We really don't make anything bother us that much. And outside of that, I think we we are so protective of our culture. I think that's one thing about us that a lot of persons don't know. We're so protective of our culture. If you should go to a Jamaican home on a Sunday, be sure that you're going to get your rice and peas and fried chicken or your curry goat. So we're so protective of our culture, and it's something that we ensure that we pass on to the next generation and next generation. And something that I failed to mention earlier is that I'm also an entrepreneur, whereby I've started a company, Flora Natural, and the idea behind it is to actually for this company to be an example to young people, you know, how we can use our culture to really gain financial stability. Because another issue that we face as a country as well is youth unemployment. And the youth unemployment rate here in Jamaica is high. I think it's 28 to 30% right now. And so Flora Natural, we produce castor oil, and castor oil, the castor oil tree or the castor oil plant, you can find it in almost every backyard, right? And so I was like, you know, we can actually use this, something that we actually can go outside and see every day. We can use it to create a platform, you know, where we can actually gain financial stability, as well as, you know, integrate our communities. So yes, like I said, this is something that my grandma taught me how to make the castor oil. It's something that I'm passing on to the next generation as well.
Excellent. Renee, I'm glad you shared that with our young viewers, because on this Youth and Mentorship podcast, I always pose certain questions to kind of get our youth of color thinking. And an example I used was, so one episode on my podcast, I interviewed a multi-millionaire. He's the CEO of a company called Eco Planet Bamboo. Eco Planet Bamboo has made a fortune off of countries like my native homeland of Ghana. So I was originally born in Ghana. Even though I grew up in the United States, I still have family in Ghana. And bamboo grows in Ghana. So when people think of bamboo, you know, they think of China, Japan, you know, but Ghana is one of those countries that has a lot of natural bamboo growing. So the natives in Ghana, they have not capitalized off of their own natural resources. And then you have this CEO, he comes all the way to Ghana and he's making millions off of something that grows in our backyard. So I really want to get our youth of color, their mind geared towards business and learning to do for self. So I'm really glad that you shared that story.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Now,
and
let me ask you, say it again.
Sorry, I was going to add to what you just said. You know, sometimes we have so many things in our surrounding that we can look at and capitalize on, but we just don't have the vision to really see what's there and utilize what's there. So absolutely.
Yes. So in addition to castor oil, what other resources can you say, like natural resources, you say have potential for, let's say, future entrepreneurs, future businesswomen, future businessmen in Jamaica?
All right, so Stasha and I grew up in the same community, so we can attest to this. One of the reasons why I started Youth on the Rise was that after I left university and I came back home, because I went to Kingston for university and I came back home, one thing that I saw is a lot of young men. There were a lot of young men on the corner. I don't know if you've been to Jamaica and you'll see them on the corner. And, you know, the business of the day was smoking marijuana, right? You know, and now we know smoking of the marijuana, everybody has their different perspective as it relates to this. But when you have young people, young children that are to be in school and they're out there smoking marijuana, know that in itself is an issue. And so Youth on the Rise was founded because of these same issue, because nobody wants their child to be smoking, you know, be idling on the street and smoking, you know. And I go back to your question as it relates to what things we can tap into. Now, a lot of them plant marijuana. So that's in itself, that's something that we can actually tap into You know, it's something that they know how to do it. They know the craft of it. They know how to, they'll have a conversation with you about marijuana and they'll go on and on about it. And I believe it's something that they can actually tap into, show them a different way how they can actually capitalize on this instead of just, you know, smoking it. There are different benefits to marijuana that they can tap into. So that's one thing. And we have our rivers. I think it's something that we probably need to capitalize on as well. You know, rafting. There are so many things that we can use. You know, we can use the resources that are readily available to us for. And not just our rivers, we have, even in our community, we have a waterfalls, things like that. And there's nothing really being done to these areas. And just like how you were saying about bamboo in Ghana, we here in St. Elizabeth, because we're from St. Elizabeth, we have a bamboo village.
Really?
You know, where the bamboos would literally arch across the road and you can drive through. And you know, there's so many things that we can capitalize on. And that in itself can be a tourist area for, you know, persons can pay to go there, things like that. And there's, you know, nothing being done.
Wow. So there's so much, you know, potential, you know, for the young generation. And, you know, for our young people of color, you know, we always tell them, like, find your strengths, you know, and a good exercise we have is we say, what are 3 words, you know, that describe you? So I'll start with you, Stasha. What are 3 words that describe you? Put you on the spot.
That's absolutely fine. All right, 3 words that describes me. I am dedicated, I'm committed, and I'm a go-getter. I mean, those are like my main 3. Dedicated, committed, and a go-getter. If I see it, I'm going for it. Even if I don't even know how to go get it, I'm gonna be thinking about it, I'm reading about it, I'm talking to persons who know how to get this. So yeah, those are my 3 words.
That's true. That's so true.
Nice.
Definitely a go-getter. For me, I'd say I'm resilient, I'm passionate, and I'm grateful. You know, I try my best to just thank the persons, always, you know, looking out for the persons within my circle in our own way, and just being grateful for life itself.
Now, you know, with people of color, you know, all around the world, the whole African, you know, diaspora, a big challenge is to, you know, remind the youth that, you know, they too can accomplish their goals. And in some youth, they're like, well, you know, I don't really see that many people that look like me that are, you know, making it out there, except for, like, you know, older people. And with you 2 ladies being, you know, fairly young, what advice do you have for young people that are losing hope and confidence in succeeding in life or making it out of their environment? What advice would you have?
For me, it's more than just an advice. As an educator, I know, you know, you can try to motivate them and you can try to push them and all of these things. But I do believe, as a Black nation, one of the things that I think that we need to take up in hand, or things that we need to challenge ourselves and try to ensure that we do, is to find a way how to actually implement programs that will actually help build your self-confidence. I think that is what is killing our young people. The lack of self-confidence, you know, the lack of self-confidence, as well as the low self-esteem. Help them to understand that they are worth it, and they deserve it. You know, whatever it is that your dreams are, you deserve it. Stop shying away from it as though, you know, it's not for you. Yes, it's for you, but how is it that we actually motivate them? You know, yes, you can say this to them and you can, but it's not like, sometimes they need persons to actually hold their hand, like literally hold their hands and help them to understand that they are worth something. You are worth more than, just a pretty face or whatever the case may be. Just help build their self-confidence. I believe that's one of our challenges here as a country.
Thank you. Stasha?
Thank you. And that just to add to that, I think with social media now being such an influence on young people in terms of, maybe shunning them, saying, oh, you should have accomplished this already, or this is what you should be doing, or this is how you should be looking. I think that really impact a lot of young people as well. So my advice to young people is, guess what? Be yourself. There's nobody else out there that can be the best you apart from you. Understand that, guess what? You move at your own pace. So slow down if you need to slow down, take a breath. If you need to take a breath, and just reflect on your life and reflect on yourself. There must be something that this is your goal, this is your anchor, work towards it. Like there's no time frame as it relates to achieving these things. So just be patient with you. That's what I can tell young people. Be patient with yourself.
Renee and Stasha, I really, want to thank you two ladies, professionals, role models, and mentors for taking time out of your schedule to share some words of wisdom with the young people here. Like I say, the African diaspora is strong. We're everywhere. We're everywhere
That's
around
true.
the world. And it's very powerful to have, role models, such as you two, to come on and share real life stories and real life experiences. I'm definitely going to be looking out for Youth on the Rise. Thank you, ladies, for coming on this show.
Well, thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. Continue
for having us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.